Okay, so this is welcome to a conversation between some of our participants in the current CAPE EPIC 2025. We have some representatives here of some different organizations. We've got Ruben from Jumping Kids. We're going to ask you something about that in a moment. We've got Travis from Rejuvenate SA, right? And we've got Rheo from Zamile. So I'm going to ask you guys just to introduce yourselves briefly, maybe say something about who you are and why you and your organization and why you decided to enter the CAPE EPIC.
Great. I'm Rheo. I overheard in my prosthetist corridor about the endeavor that's happening, and I thought, oh, I'd love to do this adventure. So I sort of signed myself up for it. But the whole reason behind it, why I'm so excited about it, is because I lost my leg cycling. I was hit by a garbage truck cycling on a mountain bike about 2 years ago this time of the year. So it's a lovely commemoration that exactly 2 years later I get to cycle again and be back up and going. And the reason I think I got to do this again, things as extreme as this 2 years later, was because I had a fantastic support network. And not a lot of people have that support network, and just getting a leg isn't quite enough to get you back and going. You need psychology, you need physiotherapy, lots of other things around it, and I had the privilege to have access to that. So a company like Zamile actually helps amputees to get that support network. So I was really happy to help, and also to be part of a great adventure that's symbolic for me. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you, Rheo. What I take from that is, as an amputee, it took me many years to kind of get my act together and become more active, or as active as I wanted to be, and it had something to do with prosthetics, but it had a lot to do with not asking for and accepting help, kind of isolating myself from the amputee community. So what I hear you say is that you pretty much threw yourself into it and embraced much more of the support that was available to you.
Yeah, well, I think it was partly the hospital kind of gave me a support network, and it was quite nice because it felt like a bunch of friends helping me. It was, I had a team of women mainly, except my surgeon. Everyone else were women, and that made quite a difference, and they were all kind of my age and very relatable, and so it felt easy to ask for help, because it was like asking for a friend and not, someone that felt distant or that I can't relate to. So that made it easy. So I was just lucky that I was in a good system. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. Travis, over to you. Do you remember the question?
Can you repeat it?
No, tell them your name.
Yeah, so I'm Travis Warwick-Oliver. I don't even know how to follow that. And then, I'm actually the founder of Rejuvenate South Africa. So when I lost my leg back in 2021, chatted to Leuven, who's my prosthetist, and we came up with this idea after the amount of money I had to raise to afford to become mobile again. Just thought, how is it possible for people who don't have the networking and the kind of people around that I did at the time to support me on my journey, and that's where Rejuvenate South Africa was born. And I literally had the amputation and threw myself straight into extreme things. So I started running, and I have been a runner ever since. And last year, I actually got told about this epic journey a few months before all of you. It was kind of under the scenes, but it wasn't confirmed. And when I got back from New York Marathon, Blickies told me that CAPE EPIC is on. So I've been on a bicycle now for the last 4 months trying to get ready for this extremely epic adventure. And Leuven and myself, both directors and founders of Rejuvenate, are teammates. And what a better way to spend, these crazy times out there with someone who's pretty much got me up onto my 2 feet again. It's just a nice time to connect with them even further and do some grueling things.
Okay, so I'm Ruben van Dijk. I've been an amputee for 17 years. And I first did the CAPE EPIC in 2013, and then did it another 5 times after that. And then I took a bit of a break, and then, stoked to be back here now for my 7th attempt. But also, it's nice the way we put the whole thing together. So we representing Jumping Kids, which is a non-profit that I've been involved with for about 12 years. And Jumping Kids is really looks at children and giving them mobility just so that they have the equipment that they need to like live normal lives, you know, get out of special schools into normal schools and to be able to do whatever career they would like to and whatever sport they would like to, which is really can be prohibited by not having the right equipment. So really getting kids mobile with the right equipment.
Okay, great. Okay, thanks, guys. We have quite a good idea of who you are, and so I mean, today was first day after many months of preparation for the Epic. You said 4 months, Ruben.
Yeah, I mean, I've been cycling all the time, so yeah.
Okay, and Rensha, how long did you prepare for?
I've always been cycling, so I've been doing like bike packs. So I just made my bike packs a bit longer until I do the Epic. Yeah.
Okay, but the Epic is a huge step up, right, from where you've been. So, I mean, as an amputee myself, and I think on behalf of other amputees watching this conversation, I mean, I have to ask you, this is a challenging, grueling endurance event, which most fully able riders will have a tough time completing. So as an amputee, why would you put yourself through this?
Well, so my goal when I lost my leg was just to regain my life back. So I've always been a very active person. I've always done endurance sports. So I just wanted to go back to what I've done. So for me, it was really just a return to self, which was endurance sports. And I never would have dreamed of doing the CAPE Epics. It was never kind of something on my radar. So I don't really know why I'm doing it. It's hard, but yes, actually, you know what? It's good to challenge yourself and see that you are still capable, because I think once you lose a bit of yourself, you kind of want to prove to yourself that you haven't lost it all. You still have that hardcore warrior in you. Yeah, so no, it's a great challenge, and I'm chuffed to bits to be part of it.
Okay, and then I have to ask, today is the end of day one, which was the prologue. How did the day go for you?
It was lots of fun. I got a bit sad when I saw 5Ks to go, because I thought, no, man, this is too fun. I want to keep going.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow's going to be 3 times as long.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when I ask you both of you guys, the same question, I mean, why enter such a grueling race, and how did day one go?
So I just feel when I lost my leg and I was lying there for the 11 months trying to recover and salvage my foot, I wasn't able to do much. And I actually bought myself a gravel bike, and I thought that would be the sport to get into with the foot I had. And I entered a 100k ride. I did it. On the way, I had to just smash the painkillers, and afterwards I couldn't walk for a week. So, coming now to the CAPE Epic with the prosthetic, I feel it's just nice to push and challenge yourself. And when I was lying there all those months ago, not being able to do anything, and now I feel I can do anything I put my mind to. It's just go big. I mean, this is the first real race I've ever done on a mountain bike, so it's quite cool.
I have to just share with whoever's watching this that you've also done a few marathons, like the New York Marathon and a couple of others. So it's not exactly your first endurance event.
Yeah, so I am a runner, so I do tend to run a lot more than I cycle. I've done Comrades, I've done Ultra Mont Blanc, and New York Marathon. But the cycling is a whole different ball game. I feel
You've done UTD as well.
I haven't finished UTD.
No, but you did like 110Ks.
Yeah, but you can't claim it if you haven't finished it, eh? I feel like cycling is a great sport for people with disabilities to get into. It's not easy. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's a lot more forgiving on the body than, say, running is. And for amputees who have to buy prosthetics, it's a lot cheaper to get onto a bicycle, because you don't have to have 4 different legs and have a leg for this application. You can literally jump on your bike and ride with the leg that you do have. It's just a great thing to do.
Thank you. I love that. There was a question I was going to ask later: is why is it a good idea for amputees to get into mountain biking? But we'll get back to that. But thank you. I think it's a great segue into that later. Ruben.
I think for me, I was always a cyclist, always a mountain biker, and the CAPE Epic is really the pinnacle And it's quite a unique event because you know, it allows amateurs to line up against pros. So I mean, like today we were like riding the same course as world champions and Olympic champions. So there's not many sports, or even in cycling, where it's possible for the average Joe to line up on the same course and do the same event as other cyclists. So it was always like a goal for me, and I kind of you know, made it happen back then. And it's kind of the bug bit, and it's just like, I don't want to say it become, you know, part of my life, but it's you get into that routine of training for the CAPE EPIC, and it's been great to break down a lot of barriers, you know, by doing the event and show others, you know, what can be done. Also, you know, with the right equipment, like you need a proper bicycle for the CAPE EPIC, you need, you know, any with a prosthetic you can do it, and we probably need a little bit more training to be fitter than to get to the same level as the other average able-bodied cyclists, but with the right training, it's doable, and we've done it. So yeah, and we're here to do it again.
Okay, thank you. Ruben, you mentioned good, you know, bicycles, the equipment, and of course these things are important. But something else would be taking care of your body and discipline. I have so much respect for the discipline that you guys show in training and getting ready for an event like this. I'm not sure that I have that level of discipline in me, but if you could say something about that level of discipline to train as an able or disabled person to the Epic.
Yeah, so both Dane and I work full time, so we train early in the mornings. But what we really try to do is not to do like a lot of big or like some big rides during the train. We try to do a lot of consistency. So we rode like 6 days a week, 7 days a week. So it's not necessarily like 100 k's every day, but at the end of the week you do bank it. And I think that consistency does really help, you know, to build that endurance base, and it helps like with events like this where it's 8 days. So you know, you're going to get up tired on day 3 and you need to go again. So I think we, you know, discipline, get up in the morning. But I think what's also nice is that we live quite close to each other. So I know he's waiting for me at 4:45 at the corner. So I can't not just roll over and go back to sleep. And same for him. So we held each other accountable to be consistent for this lead up to the event. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. So again, the theme of support comes up is doing it with people. Yeah. So I'm going to talk a bit about our residual limbs and limb care. So we talk about the ride today and maybe the days going forward. How do you care for your residual limb during such an event? And I think this will be helpful to not only amputee athletes in cycling, but in other sports too.
So chafing is often a big problem when you cycle. So you want to really make sure your skin doesn't break, because once you have open skin, that's like a breeding ground for bacteria. So we sometimes on long rides just have to take off your leg, dry your liner, keep things dry and cool. I know you struggle quite a lot with sweat. I'm quite lucky in that regard. I don't sweat as much. So I just change things around. Your liners. And stop when you feel it's starting to hurt, because there's no point in trying to be a warrior and push through pain, because then you just bugger up your leg and then you're out. I kind of have to be kind to your stump. And we also have a prosthetic care tent, I think, every day at some water points, and they'll have spare parts and things for us if we need to change anything. So we've got leg mechanics and bike mechanics.
Okay. Thanks, Rheo. For you, I know that you've told me you have a lot of issues with sweating, and I've seen you at times take off your liner, and a lot of sweat come out of there. How do you deal with that?
Yeah, so I battle quite a bit with my stump. I've got, like, my skin is very sensitive. It's probably the bit of ginger in me, but so I sweat a hell of a lot. And yeah, when I first became an amputee, it was like if I walked from my bedroom to the bathroom, I'd have a bit of sweat in there. And I just also, for me, I don't like the feeling of being loose in my socket, and that's what sweating does. It, just makes it very loose and uncomfortable. And on runs, I stop every 2 kilometers to take it off and drain it. Cycling is a lot better. I can go for 2 hours. But I do find we have to take our legs off, like, even if you don't feel you need to, because sweat is very acidic. and it does soften your skin a hell of a lot, and it breaks down your tissues. So taking it off, washing with fresh water, cleaning everything up is very important. And yeah, like Rensha says, if you break the skin, there's probably most likely going to be an infection that comes. So you just have to, if you feel any niggles, any hot spots, take the leg off and you'll save yourself for the next few days.
I can imagine that'll be quite hard. I mean, you've entered the Cape Epic, you're halfway through, say, the 5th leg, and you have excuse that pun, but racing leg, or and you have to make a call to quit. I mean, that'll be a really hard call to make.
Yeah, I mean, it's not nice, and like, especially if you are feeling good and something like that happens. Like that's generally the case. When you're feeling good, your Stompy gives up. And it is difficult for us. I mean, we have to stop, and there's no disabled friendly rocks and stumps out there. We literally sit on our bum on the floor, whip the leg off, try keep your seal from landing in the dust, try keep your liner from getting dusty and dirty, and then put everything back on. So it is a process, but it's just all part of the game. And I feel like if you accept that, it just becomes part of your race.
Thanks. Ruben?
Yeah, I think so. Fortunately, or maybe, I don't know if it's fortunate, but I've been an amputee for longer, so I've kind of figured a lot of things out, and but I think what's crucial is with, like, as with any prosthetic, is the socket design, and how it works for you for cycling. So like, it needs to be obviously comfortable and minimize the chafing, and even when you start sweating, that it can still be comfortable. And how I look after it, I'm very careful with hygiene of the liners and that, and I've developed some tips and stuff to clean it, and then also getting into the routine of keeping it like dry. So I would, like, before every water point, that would be part of my routine. So eat full bottles and then like look after the legs, so that I don't have to necessarily stop somewhere where there's not a nice place to sit. So I got into the routine of, okay, even if it's not like a necessity right now, I'm gonna sort it out so that it just you sort it out before it becomes an issue. Yeah, so just look after it, and like you have to, because it's like, we're gonna probably ride 65 hours this week, I think. I don't know, something like that. So it's a long time riding bicycle. Yeah.
Don't tell me that.
Well, the good news is you've got an hour and 15 minutes after the so you only got like 63 more to go. So yeah, I'm just, again, a lot of amputees will most likely be watching this conversation, and maybe just to share with them, for you, why mountain bike riding is so enjoyable, and why maybe they should contemplate, as you talked about earlier, getting into it.
Yeah, like Travis just said, it's very simple actually as an amputee to cycle. It's a sport that's the closest to feeling normal, if I can put it that way. Like running with a blade, it's very different to running with two legs. And everything else that I've done again feels very much like you had to adapt around it. Where cycling, I didn't have to adapt that much, and that's also gives me lots of joy, because it feels like you sort of revisiting an old part of yourself. I've lost my leg very recently, so revisiting a bit of an old mobility self is always it's quite fun. I guess moving and being out in nature gives you freedom. It gives you a sense of empowerment. It gives you independence, which is something that, as an amputee, sometimes gets stripped from you. And cycling gives you that autonomy, that you're strong, and that you have freedom, that you can do it. Yeah, and it means you don't have to start in the mountain. You can start in the tar, and then eventually work yourself up. Yeah, but I think dipping your toe into nature, it's a wonderful way to get into nature. It's a low impact sport on your stump, and you can do it on an e-bike as well. Yeah, so yeah, it's a good way to get into nature. Yeah.
Great, thanks. Yeah, I'm the e-bike rider in the group. Yeah, so I don't have the sort of discipline and courage that it takes to ride analog bike. I'm not sure what you call it, but yeah, I totally agree. It's a combination of, I think, fitness, getting out into nature. What I love about cycling is what I missed most after I'd lost my leg was that I couldn't just get out of bed and from home do something for half an hour, hour and a half, and get a good workout. I had to go to the gym or to the pool or whatever. And cycling gives me that ability again to just jump out of bed. And so I think it's great for that, like running used to. And if you want to push it, that's a bit of an adrenaline thing, which was something that cost me my leg in the first place. But yeah, it's a bit of adrenaline and a lot of other. But yeah, same question for you guys.
Yeah, I also just find, other than swimming, I feel like cycling is probably the easiest sport to adapt to. You know, you don't have to jump on and do the Cape Epic as, you know, it doesn't have to be your end goal. Like just going for a cycle around the block with the family or with the dog or whoever it is, with your grandchildren, you know, it's just nice to get out and be active, get moving, you know. A lot of people feel like they're stuck and they can't move when actually it is actually very possible and accessible. And you don't have to, you don't have to have the best of the best bicycles. You can get a cheapo bike and jump on it and still enjoy it. Yes. So that's why I really do like cycling. I'm also an adrenaline junkie, just like you are. So like the Toyota Tough Section today, like that was my favorite. Like do a little jump here. Yeah. I hit the B lines, but that's only because
A-line or B-line, babe.
No, because like everyone back home is like, don't take the A lines. Yeah. So if I crashed on an A line, like, can you imagine? Yeah.
Well, when we get closer to the Stellenbosch area, there are a lot of A-lines that you might want to avoid. So have a conversation with Rheo about that and Ruben. But yeah, Ruben, same question for you, please. I just want to add, I think it was a very important point that it doesn't have to be expensive. Yeah. You don't have to get an expensive bicycle. I mean, a lot of amputees might find it inaccessible, but you don't have to necessarily spend a lot of money.
Yeah, I think just to reiterate, maybe, you know, obviously when you're on a bicycle, you're not really carrying weight on your limb, so because you're really sitting on the seat. So I think that's why it makes it great for amputees. So it's like a non-weight bearing, you know, sport. And also like a bicycle is an amazing thing. You can go like so far on a bicycle with so little energy actually. You know, you can see so much on a bicycle and be so close to nature. You know, we did with a bunch of mates the Otter Trail like 2 years ago, and like you walk the whole day and you walk 10 kilometers and it's amazing and it's beautiful and you see so much. But I just think like I could have used that 8 hours and seen so much more on my bicycle and been just as close to nature. So yeah, you know, I live in Pretoria, but I probably know the Western Cape better than many people who live here, but just from the places that I've seen on bicycles from like the Epic and training camps here and other events. I mean, you ride places that people don't even know about on top of mountains between like the most amazing proteas and the views that nobody will ever see because it's too far to hike up there. But you get there on your bicycle. I mean, unless you're in a helicopter or you wouldn't get up there on a motorbike. So it's access to places that nobody else will really be able to get to. Over here, obviously we're using quite a lot of energy, but you could see a lot of beautiful places on your bicycle with very little sweating.
Thanks, Ruben. I think it's a fantastic point that you can cover big distances. You mean you want to do the Otter Trail on a bicycle, or?
There are amazing routes on the garden route. I think there's a company that's opened a route now where it's with self-catering. Okay. So you ride like 60 or 70 k's a day, and you'll see then like 350 kilometers of what is probably our best coastline. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean that is appealing.
Maybe we should all go do that.
Yeah. I think, why are we doing that, KP? Why aren't we doing that?
I was just going to say, maybe we should have a chat with Ossur about getting us all up there. Okay, guys, just one or two last thoughts. I'm just taking a look at all the prosthetics here. And just wondering, for this kind of event, did you have to change anything specifically about your normal prosthetics that you wear, your day-to-day prosthetics?
Yeah, so I was quite lucky with Ossur. They gave me this lovely, what is it called? The Ossur Terra Flex.
Is anybody else here?
Yes. Wearing slippers, I'm assuming. Yeah, so it's a very high activity fit, so it's like preloaded for the non-amputees out there. What that basically means is like, for instance, with a blade, you only get the running blade, you get the same energy out that you put in. But where with this one, it's preloaded, so you don't have to put as much in to get a nice return. Yeah, so it's quite a bouncy foot, if I can put it that way, and it's quite versatile. It reacts almost like a normal foot, so that's great for high activity. But my socket itself, well, it's all Zemele. Yeah, for instance, my air valve, I kept knocking and breaking it with my bicycle. It's usually on the side, on the inside, so that's now a little bit on a different side. I've got pads on the inside because when I go down the hill, I put my prosthetic at the back and then I put weight in a weird place. So that's been adjusted. Around the knees, it's been adjusted. So when you do technical stuff with your bicycle, I felt sometimes I get a bit of pressure somewhere. I don't want to contradict our conversation that we just said, oh no, you can just go cycling with a normal leg and everything's fine. But I felt like obviously with the Epic where it's like hours on hours, I wanted to set myself up for success. So my prosthetist was really kind and made me a special leg for cycling. Yeah.
Thank you. So yeah, shout out to our prosthetist who
Yeah.
put all the effort into this and make us these amazing sockets. I totally agree. When I picked up cycling again, I used my regular day-to-day leg. So you can absolutely do that.
Yeah.
But for the longer, more kind of grueling stuff, it's probably better to tweak it a bit,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, and just touch on what Rensha said. I mean, yeah, we don't want to compromise what you said earlier about you can just go and cycle, but you can. We've just got these different sockets designed and made for Epic because of how long we're out there for. So, I mean, I've only just been on my new cycling leg for about a month. So I did 3 months of really hard, gnarly training where I'm doing 20 hours a week on my old, like, everyday leg. And then I'm not in my Terra right now because I put that on my cycling leg. I just found on the, like, technical descents and the hard impacts, it absorbs a lot better and it just feels a lot more comfortable. Also it gives me the right length because I have lengthened my cycling leg, so I set my bicycle up perfectly for my left hand side and then I try and match my socket and my prosthetic leg to that side, and that's how I found my back wasn't getting sore and all of that on the long rides. But other than that, I've literally just cut the back of my socket down so I can just bring my leg up a bit more, which you do lose a bit of stability, but we don't really need it too much when we're cycling. And yeah, other than that, my socket's standard.
Okay. Ruben, any thoughts?
Yeah, so I've got quite a very short residual limb, so my everyday socket is quite a challenge to get stability. So it's quite restrictive. So my cycling leg gives me much more range of motion, and I also use a different suspension system. I use a pin lock on the cycling leg just for the durability. So I don't want to have any issues with like loss of suction, or because it can get if you fall over and like lose a valve or you can lose the suction. So I've gone for a more like durable setup that can get full of mud and water and whatever and it still stays attached. Yeah.
My leg has fallen off before. Like I crashed and my bicycle and my leg went that way and I went that way.
In public?
No one was there.
No stairs.
Unfortunately, no one was there to see it.
Okay, guys, I think we kind of gotten to the end of this conversation. We will be picking up a bit more on one or two of the other stages. But just thank you so much for, I know you're tired. You're probably going to get some sleep. And I don't know, you said something about having what did you say?
Guinness.
A Guinness? Yeah? No? Okay, all right. Oh, okay. So, I don't know.
Wine shops are open. Wine shops are open.
No, well, and wait till we tell Jackie what you guys have planned. I'm not sure she'll be just too thrilled, too chuffed about that. So, yeah, so I just want to say thank you so much. And maybe before we go, if you could just say something to whoever might be watching this, as amputees or not, but in particular somebody who's an amputee recently or maybe contemplating cycling, who's been an amputee for a while, anything on your mind. I'm going to start with you, Ruben, that you might want to share with them. A message.
Yeah, maybe just from me is that like don't let the loss of a limb like limit your dream. So if you want to do something crazy like the CAPE EPIC or whatever, like work with your prosthetist and develop a solution. And it could be trial and error, but you'll eventually get there and get a solution that works for you and lets you do whatever you want to do. And if your prosthetist is not open to that, then maybe it's time to find somebody else. So yeah, don't let the loss of the limb and the need for equipment like hold you back. There's like we say, boer maak 'n plan, and there's plans that can be made here in South Africa.
Yeah, I think, and what I heard is a lot of people say, don't let your disability define who you are. But I actually think we can change it around and be positive about it, and you can let it define who you are, because make the most of your situation. That's what I'm doing. That's what us three are doing, and we're in these really cool places doing really cool things at this moment because we are disabled and we're amputees. And I don't think we'd be riding the Cape Epic together if it wasn't for that reason. So yeah, don't let people tell you what you can and can't do. That's what I just need to say.
Okay. Thank you. It's one of the questions I had here is if you think back, and we'll answer this maybe next time, is if you think, in a moment. I haven't forgotten about it. But if you had to think back after all these years and the first, say, week or two, a month of being an amputee, and somebody had said to you, maybe you can do the Epic one day. I'm not sure you would have been too, but so it makes it so special.
I think on my first day at my prosthetist, just out of hospital on crutches, very down, this old man came out walking fine, I think it was a bilateral amputee, I can't remember, but anyway. And he just looked at me and he just said, "It gets better." And that was all I needed to hear, because it's so easy to just stare at what you have at the moment and you think this is my life, but it actually does get better and there is room for change and growth. Yeah.
Thanks so much to you guys for having this chat, and it does get better. I think it takes some your attitude, of course, but and your support, the people around you. But guys, all the best for the next week. It looks like you've had a good start. Have a good rest, and I'll catch you guys for the next interview in a couple of days. All right. Cheers, guys. All right. That's it. Thanks. That was